Hello Penguinauts, I'm the Beardy Penguin and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program Endurance, taking off from the lovely Space Center on Solitude. I bet it's lovely and warm in that Space Center. Unlike England at the moment, it's apparently going to drop to -13 tonight. And before I get all the comments, oh actually Beardy, out in Siberia we get -50. Okay, it's Britain. Okay, it's weird for us. All right, we're supposed to have a mild climate. I mean, I guess if you take the average of -13 and 35, which is the high in the summer, I guess you get somewhere near room temperature. You get 12 if you do that, I think. Yeah, no. No, you don't. But still, actually, it's fair. It usually is about 12 degrees in England, so that's about right. But yeah, trust me, we're not used to it. I do actually like cold weather. I mean, I am a penguin, but I do actually enjoy cold weather a lot more than hot weather. But when I'm prepared for it, I walked out today with just gloves, and oh my god, it was cold. And it was also raining, and it wasn't fun. Anyway, so I got a bit sidetracked there. Today we're launching Pioneer 1, because of course we visited Nemesis, and now it's time to visit the other moon, which is of course Guardian. It's got twice the number of biomes, you can get a hell of a lot more science from it, and we're just, there we go, getting our encounter. We don't actually have the orbital information, so we need to actually encounter the moon, and once we've encountered it we get all the orbital information, and then we can go and grab ourselves a strategy. So, now we have the orbital telemetry of Guardian, we can now do the Guardian probe strategy, which again gives us 400% funds to milestone gains, whereas -80% funds to milestone gains for any other bodies. We also get more contracts from Guardian, and of course we get this contract, which gives us 125 grand for landing probes in 3 different biomes on Guardian. We are going to accept that strategy and return to orbit of Guardian to get into orbit and then land on its smooth beige surface. Right, let's get transmitting some science data. Wonderful. Temperature scan. Measuring the temperature of space appears to be quite impossible as there is no matter around. Yeah, we've read that one before. Okie dokie. We shall transmit that. Wonderful. Atmospheric pressure scan. The instrument reads 0. It's as if it were in a vacuum. We're getting a lot of the same messages, but I guess it's just because we need a lot more to have any kind of variety. Mystery goo observation. The goo seems to look for a way to escape. We'll transmit that, and then another one when we land. We won't do the materials study, but we should get a yes milestone. First scientific data from Guardian. Truly, truly wonderful. Right, let's. Oh, that sun's bright. We'll get ourselves a maneuver. We don't have to worry so much about smashing into mountains on Guardian. It's nowhere near as rocky and mountainous as Nemesis was. Well, is. I believe Guardian is formed from sort of asteroids that were originally in the asteroid belt between where Duna is and Dres is. So sort of Dres-toroids have been slowly captured and have gradually formed into the moon that we now see before us. But let's get warping towards it. And yep, this little system is looking a lot more friendly now that we've actually identified the orbits of the moons. They're very similar, just on opposite sides of Solitude. I don't know how realistic it is to have an orbit as synchronous as this, to have them in perfect synchronous. Surely they would have smashed into each other at this point, but hey, you know, what do I know about orbital mechanics, huh? And there we go, flying over the south pole of Guardian. Let's flip this thing around. Oh, hello. Temperature scan data required. Boring! We've had that one as well. Yeah, I want some more messages, damn it. Oh, we just sent that one, I think. Yeah, reset it. We can't do the mystery goo observation because we only have 2, so we can't really afford to be using our other one on the near space science. We'll do it when we send the next probe to Guardian. Alright, 11-second burn. We can do that. We'll just hold SAS and then wait until we reach our node. There we go. Ah, wrong button. I meant to press X and I pressed Z. I pressed maximum thrust. Yeah, didn't mean to do that. Right, there we go. That's better. Nope, engine burnt out as usual, and now we switch on to the lander engine. Need to be quite careful about using this engine though, because it's a very light spacecraft and it's a very powerful engine. I didn't really want to use the little engines. I know I researched them, but I didn't want to use them actually once I got them, because I realised... Close that maneuver. There we go. I realised that we've now got this materials bay, and it's a bit heavier, and I wasn't sure. And this is actually a more efficient engine, so if we've got a larger spacecraft, we might as well go for the bigger engine. Anyway, wonderful! We're in orbit! Freaking awesome! Let's actually have a good look at Guardian's surface, shall we? Once we get over to the day side, it really is dark on the dark side of planets. Maybe I should get an ambient light mod to make that slightly better. And look at that! It looks kind of like, I don't know actually. It just looks like its own thing, really. I guess maybe a little bit like Bop, but no, not really. It's just sort of similar colour. It's just a nice sort of sandy world. I really like it actually. It's quite pretty. It's got a big crater at the North Pole as well. Hello. So some kind of alien pyramid as well. Definitely not just a texture glitch for the terrain. Yeah, we'll have to go visit that giant alien pyramid. For sure. Maybe it'll give us the secrets to interstellar travel. Anyway, Guardian's Rocky Midlands. We are currently flying over. Wonderful. I don't know what all the biomes are on Guardian, but I guess we're going to find out. Just have a look. Here we go. We can have a look now. Guardian probes. 3 different biomes. We've got the subtle cracks, the Rocky Midlands, spacious highlands, peaks gorge, secondary gorge, ridged zone, and tertiary gorge. I think that might have been updated since, so I need to have a look at the biomes and actually maybe edit that that contract a little bit. Okie dokie, so I had a little chat with GamesLink, the developer of the After Kerbal mod pack, who is an awesome guy, and he is in my Discord. I plug my Discord a lot in this series, but mainly because it wouldn't really be possible without it. Anyway, and he says no, Guardian simply just has more biomes than Nemesis. It is a bit more geographically interesting, although Nemesis of course has the massive mountains and stuff, hasn't really got any distinct features, whereas this has got certain little specific craters and sort of ridges and gorges and all sorts of interesting stuff. I'm really looking forward to bringing some kind of rover here on a future manned mission. But anyway, without any further ado, I believe we need to think about landing somewhere. Probably not anywhere here, because we won't be able to get signal. So we need to go a little further around the planet, because we're about to lose signal, I think. Yeah, we would if we went down to the surface anyway. And this will be fine, yeah. Over the subtle cracks. No, ridged zone. Hello. Yeah, over the ridged zone of Guardian. Well, righty-roo, yeah, we'll just land right in the middle of this big flat area. It's a pretty decent landing site. As good as any, I believe. And we'll go for our descent. Here we are. And here we go. Let's have a look at where we're going. Again, the map view is deceptive. It's still a lot more, yeah, craggy than it looks. It looks pretty smooth from here, but no, it's certainly got some interesting terrain. You can see these mountains actually. There's some quite interesting mountains over there in the distance. To be fair, it is called the ridged zone, so we kind of had this coming, but you know, whatever. Right, let's get pointing along our retrograde marker. And let's get slowing down. We'll get rid of some of this lateral velocity, shall we? Hello, Archangel. Ah, you are looking beautiful today. Right, indirect sunlight and indirect range of communications. Not a bad landing site whatsoever. I know we're burning a little early, but we've got a bit of fuel to spare on this one. I don't think we'll be able to hop to another biome. The biomes are quite spread out here. I think it might be a bigger world. I'm not sure about the gravity. I think it might be the same. But I don't know. We'll have to explore it and find out, won't we? Alright, it's, as I said, it's certainly a little bit more interesting than Nemesis, in my opinion. I know Nemesis was Ike and it's got some awesome mountains, but, you know, this has got specific features like craters and a giant, great big ridge line leading into a crater. Maybe an asteroid came along and just sort of scraped along the surface. Well, no, that wouldn't make any sense because it's higher. So, ignore my train of thought entirely. I'll swap back to my probe before it smashes into the surface due to my negligence. Right, yet again I think we're picking a terrible landing site. I think we're landing on a hill. Because I'm just horrendous at picking landing sites apparently. Can we get rid of the lateral velocity? Thank you very much. Yep, there we are. We're sending a bit fast, but we've got a powerful engine and a very light little space probe, so it doesn't matter too much. There we go. Just keep the engine on. Just drift down to the surface. Very gently does it. And we are on a hill. But we landed! Oh no! Oh! Okay, screw it. Retract the antenna for now. And then we're going to roll down the hill a bit, I think. Until we get to a slightly more secure landing site. Yeah. Why is it I always land on a bloody slope? I do not understand. But, yeah. I'm not going to transmit anything, because then it will extend the antenna. And then it could get knocked off. So we're just going to gently slide down the hill. Isn't this fun? I bet Pioneer 1 is just loving this. Whee! Ah, down the hill we go. We should, hopefully, come to a stop. Wonderful! Right, let's extend that antenna again, shall we? We can just about get communication with it when the antenna isn't extended. But it's a pretty crummy signal. To transmit anything, we need to have it extended. Right, temperature scan. The gauge blew apart under direct sunlight. Well, that's... Whoopsie daisy. Atmospheric pressure scan. Data acquired. Boring! Boring reports. Give me more interesting ones. Material study. I don't think we have any specialised material study for Guardian. No, we don't. Unfortunately. Actually, let's wait till we've got a bit more electric charge, because I know it takes quite a lot to transmit a material study. And let's do the mystery goo observation as well. Mystery goo observation. The goo looks lazy and comfortable. Transmit data. And there we go. Also, look at our first... Yes, world first. We've entered into suborbital spaceflight above Guardian, and we have landed on the surface of Guardian. Look at all the money. Surely we will be able to upgrade the VAB with this. And we should be able to launch possibly multiple probes in the same mission on Pioneer 2. That'd be pretty interesting. And then we can jump straight to manned missions. Would that not be extremely exciting? Look at how much money and science we have. Oh, let's try not to let it go to our heads. First things first, upgrade the VAB, and that is incredibly expensive, 450,000 funds. But it was extremely necessary because we were limited to 30 parts, and that was really sort of putting a chokehold on how ambitious our missions could be. We can't upgrade the R&D centre yet. We should be able to upgrade the administration building. Yeah, we can actually. Although I'm thinking astronaut complex first. Yeah, because these probes are all pushing us towards a manned mission to place a flag. So I think we need to get ourselves EVA reports and all that good stuff. So there we go. Astronaut complex has been upgraded. So now we can go on EVAs and we can plant flags, which should mean actually we need to do a polar mission around Solitude to get all the data from in orbit around Solitude. But we'll do that after we've launched our next mission to Guardian. Let's have a look in the R&D centre, shall we? Wonderful. So, what do we need for a mission to one of our moons? We don't need any of this stuff. We've got electrics. Let's go simple command modules, perhaps? Space exploration? No, we don't need... Telescope? Hello. We'll need that at some point, but we'll get that after we've landed Kerbals. Salamander command pod? Yeah. Possibly. Mark 1 lander can. Hello. Probably need landing. That's what I'm thinking. We get better landing legs. We get better parachutes. And we get a 2.5 meter heat shield. When do we get the... that's when we get the 2.5 meter command pod. That's thoroughly annoying. So it looks like we need to go for the Salamander command pod, which is a ruggedized two-man pod with an integrated avionics system and a basic life support recycler. I think we might need to get these two techs and have the 2.5 meter shield, because we are going to need a scientist on these missions if we want to get the most out of them. Hopefully we'll get enough science on the next mission to grab heavy rocketry, and then we'll be all set. So let's grab simple... oh wait, no, we definitely need heavy rocketry now if we want to launch a silly mission like with two probes. So yeah, no, we'll grab this now. I think we want all of these, don't we? Yeah, we want all of those. Grab all of them. And simple command modules, yeah, we'll grab all those parts as well. Wonderful. All we need to get now is landing, and then we are ready to send some Kerbals to one of our moons. Freaking awesome. Right, let's send another probe to Guardian. Well, another two probes, actually, in the same mission. Since we actually have some money now, though, what I'm going to do is take this contract, Search the Skies. This is what will finally get our observatory up and running and allow us to actually start researching planets further afield than obviously our closest two moons. We were able to get to them because they're, well, right next to us. We didn't really need to use the ground telescope to spot them. We were able to travel straight there. However, with planets, it's going to be a little bit more complicated. So we're going to accept this contract, which does cost us 100,000 funds. And there we go. Wonderful. Now we've taken that contract. Hopefully we can head over to the observatory. And, yeah, look at this. Searching the skies. Hopefully, over time, we'll get a few planets discovered. And then we'll be able to launch a space telescope to have a look at them in a bit closer detail. Anyway, let's get on with launching Pioneer 2. Now, it might have been more cost effective to launch these two probes separately, but there are two reasons why I did this. First of all, I'm lazy. And second of all, I want to test some of the engines and 2.5 meter parts for our upcoming manned missions to Guardian and Nemesis, which will of course require 2.5 meter parts. We do have a bit of a hiccup on the launch here. We flip round, do a bit of a somersault, but manage to actually regain stability thanks to the gimbal of the engine. But we have got a very steep trajectory because we slammed on 4 very powerful Thor solid rocket boosters. Solid rocket boosters weren't really used in the early space program. They weren't really used until the shuttle program. But here in Kerbal space program, they're used early on instead of liquid fuel rockets. They were only really used in the shuttle program to try and bring down the cost a little bit, but it still ended up being ridiculously expensive. I only found out recently, actually, the shuttle program was supposed to be safe and cheap and renewable, and it actually failed in all of those goals absolutely spectacularly because it had to do so many things. It had to compromise, and it became really, really dangerous. The vehicles technically had a 40% failure rate since 2 out of 5 blew up, you know, and it was not cheap at all. It actually cost more to maintain and refurbish each engine on the shuttle after launch and then being recovered on Earth. It costs more to just refurbish them, get them in working order again, than it did to just make an entirely new engine for the Saturn V. Just think about that for a sec. It's ridiculous. It's 10 times more expensive to launch things on the shuttle as well than it is to launch things on a Falcon 9 with SpaceX. That's without reusing the stages as well. Yeah. We will probably build a shuttle later on in this series just because they're freaking awesome. They are iconic, but we'll certainly build a much better one. Yeah, it's just because the shuttle became so fiendishly complicated and then had to take crew as well as cargo up to orbit that really it was a failure. They would have been much better using non-reusable rockets. It would have been cheaper and would have been much safer. But anyway, we are on our course towards Guardian, that beautiful beige moon, which is actually a bit more interesting than Nemesis, I think. Even though Nemesis has got the mountains, that's all that it's really got going for it. And as I said, it is sort of retextured Ike. I mean, it's not retextured Ike. It's an entirely new world, but it used to be Ike. And we've been to Ike before, you know. Guardian's an entirely new world created from asteroids in between Duna and Dres. So, look at that. Gorgeous shot. We get a nice little view of one of the craters. I don't think it's the North Pole. Anyway, the reason why these probes are called Pioneer probes is partly because I sort of thought planetary or body exploration probes. I'm just going to name them all beginning with P because P for planet, I guess. I don't know. It doesn't really work, does it? No. But still, that's what I'm going to do. And second of all, I'm naming them after the American probes, which were actually the Pioneer probes to the moon. A lot of people think of Pioneer as the missions that took probes out to the outer planets. Pioneer 10 and 11, they were the first objects to head on to an escape trajectory from out of the solar system. But actually the early Pioneer probes were headed towards the moon. They didn't do very well. None of them landed. Pioneer 0, yeah, for some reason one was called Pioneer 0. Pioneer 0, 1, 2, and 3 all sort of blew up. Pioneer 3 didn't explode, but it missed the moon. It just missed it, as you do. Pioneer 4 was the first one to actually get to the moon, and even then it was only a flyby, although it was one of the first objects to achieve Earth escape velocity because it used the moon as a slingshot. But we are having no such problems. Our first probe lands just fine, and now we're heading down to land our second probe in a different biome. We're testing the service propulsion system, as you can see. It's very similar, well, it is what they used on the Apollo missions. We're going to be using that to propel our manned missions out to these moons, so I thought we might as well test them. We have to use it quite a bit to adjust our orbit, do an inclination change, so that we're in that narrow little gap between communications range of Solitude and where we actually have sunlight. However, we do actually land in a massive shadow, so that wasn't particularly intelligent. So we do need to fast forward time a little bit before we can get our solar panels working and transmit our science. And now we have all the technology we need to begin manned exploration of space high above Solitude and our 2 moons.